Mike 5012. Just coming in to give you a way overdue update on the Black Aces Tactical coach gun. So, as you know, I have a video up about the first gun that I got. As you can see, this is a different gun, different shotgun. I just want to give you kind of a quick rundown of my overall experience so far. I haven't been able to shoot this yet, so we'll talk about that in a little while. But let's just get into kind of a quick sort of catch you up on what was going on before. So if you recall, or if you didn't see that video, the shotgun obviously hinges here at the pivot point, and it comes separated. These two parts actually come apart. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that for you. So you pull this little lever here to loosen up. Man, it's really on there tight. You know, I'm not going to do that right now. Take my word for it. Look at the other video. We've been having a lot of storms lately, and my fingers are killing me. So I almost wore my hobo gloves, compression gloves, to do this, but I thought that would be silly. But basically, the wood piece here, you pull the lever up to loosen the wood piece and remove it, and then the barrels just hinge off, and it comes apart in a compact little half-size, basically, takedown. Very similar to most double-barrel shotguns, as far as I know. This is my first break-action shotgun. It's only my second shotgun, and so I'm really new to that, but it does have some really neat features for the price. But as far as the sort of price point, I guess, this one comes in at around $600. Once you've basically purchased it, shipped it, and paid your fees, you're probably be around $600, $625, something like that. Your background check fees, I mean. So, yeah, let's just kind of get through it here. I should have really planned out exactly what I wanted to say before I did this, but you know me. Sorry about that. So the first one I got was the stainless steel receiver. So this portion here at the back and the tang was stainless, very muted steel gray sort of color. On all of the photos in the marketing that Black Aces gives you, it looks very polished and shiny. I'm sure you could polish it, but it actually comes very muted, which I personally preferred quite a bit. But what I had really wanted and intended to order from the beginning was the all black receiver set. So when I had my issues with the receiver and the barrels not connecting together, I reached out to Black Aces Tactical through Instagram as well as by email. Ended up talking to the same person in both channels, which was Eric Limon, who is the CEO and also handles sales and customer service. So I chatted with him a little bit about the problems I was having. We oiled it, all of that, trying to get it to fit together. It didn't fit. And so ultimately I had to send it in for basically a warranty, a repair or replacement. They couldn't repair it. So the actual issue was that these are hand fit in Turkey when they're manufactured. So they do come from Turkey, like a lot of great shotguns also come from Turkey. These come from Turkey, and then they get taken apart at the Black Aces facility, and they get laser engraved with the Black Aces logos and markings and serial numbers and all that there. So what they did not know was that these each are hand fit together at the factory in Turkey, and that means that the barrel and receiver of one shotgun won't necessarily match with another exactly, and that was the case with mine. So the barrel assembly for mine came from a different shotgun than the receiver assembly that I had, and so they didn't fit together. So me and at least one other person have had this issue. I'm assuming, unless that other shotgun hasn't shipped out yet. And from now on, they'll obviously be paying more attention to making sure that they keep them together. Now that they know that they can't just be interchanged willy-nilly. So that was the issue. Because of that, it would have required significant machining to ever possibly repair that shotgun, but most likely it was irreparable, at least for the cost. It would have needed to be replaced. And so that's what they did. So this is a brand new shotgun. Because they were going to send me a brand new shotgun with a new serial number, new background check, and transfer and all of that, I did request that Eric would send me an all black one, because that was what I had initially intended to order, and accidentally, my fault, accidentally ordered the wrong thing. So we got the black one, which I'm super excited about, and it came through. They did go ahead and cover the return shipping. They did cover the transfer fee at my local gun shop, and got me this new shotgun to replace the one that didn't work. I did have to pay to send the faulty shotgun in, as I had mentioned in the other video. From a customer service standpoint, having done customer service at every level, from being a rep on the phones to managing a small team, customer service really carries a high mark with me as far as company relationship. And I'm one of very few people out there who actually prefer to have a problem with a product, especially if it's a product that I'm going to recommend to anybody, because that customer service experience is going to tell me so much more about the company than just receiving a product, good or bad. You can really change the whole experience through good customer service, even if it's a bad experience, and you can make a good experience better just by taking care of your customer in a positive and aggressive manner, I guess I would say, aggressively positive. So were it my company, I would have definitely apologized for the issue right away and sent a packing label or something in order to ship the shotgun back. I wouldn't have asked my customer to carry any of that responsibility financially for a mistake that I had made. Even if I hadn't made the mistake for certain, it's just a good move to, kind of customer's always right mentality, and just treat the customer really well. And if the customer finds out that they made a mistake in the end, you can address that, and they can admit it or not. But their presentation of your company and your service is going to change dramatically based on whether they feel like you really went above and beyond to take care of them, even in a small way, or you jerked them over a little bit. So Eric and I actually talked about this a little bit via message on Instagram, and Eric has some good points about how he does customer service, which I do really admire. So if you bought a shotgun from a major distributor, according to Eric Lamone of Black Aces Tactical, and by major distributor or manufacturer, I'm thinking like Mossberg or Remington, something like that. I don't have experience with customer service with those agencies, so I don't know how they manage that. But he was saying basically, you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks turnaround time. You'd have to ship it in. You'd have to ship it back yourself for a warranty issue. So all of the cost is on the customer from them, and not only that, but it's going to take you 6 to 8 weeks for a turnaround, whereas his turnaround is like 2 days, and he's paying to ship it back to me, and my transfer fee. So he really felt like he was going above and beyond in that respect. I would agree, except that this wasn't so much a warranty issue in my mind as a faulty product issue. And he did admit, he didn't actually technically apologize, but he did claim full responsibility for the mix-up with the barrel and receiver not matching because they didn't know from the manufacturer that that was going to be an issue. So, generally speaking, I would say as soon as you grow your company beyond yourself, as soon as you hire your first employee, hire a customer service agent. That's my opinion. I don't know, maybe depending on what you're doing, maybe you're going to need to hire an accountant and then a customer service agent. But that customer service really needs to be done by somebody who is a little bit distanced from the product, from the company itself. You need to have somebody who's willing to apologize for a mistake on behalf of your company, even when maybe you'd be a little too proud to apologize yourself. And it's just a difference in personality. I don't think that people that are great at customer service are necessarily great entrepreneurs or great businessmen. There's a balance in good business between making sales and promoting your business and being aggressive as a businessman versus having good customer service. And you can't really balance that generally in one person. You're going to really need a little bit of separation, a degree of separation there, and that's why I would never recommend for a CEO or product owner to do their own customer service unless they have extensive experience doing customer service for another company, because you just really you can't understand the difference in how to react to people when it's your baby. It's your baby. So anyway, back to the shotgun. That's just sort of my aside on customer service, and that's the breakdown. So I paid, I think, a little under $40 extra for my shotgun because I had to ship it back. And then a couple days later, well, it took about a little over a week for the shotgun to get there because I paid as cheap as possible to ship it, and he paid as cheap as possible to ship it back to me. So 2 days later, another week and a half after that, probably about 3 weeks total turnaround, a little under 3 weeks total turnaround to get my shotgun in my hands again. I got the color I wanted, and he took care of the transfer fee for me. I still had to fill out the background check, but he paid the paperwork fee at my local gun shop to get it to me. So it cost me a little extra money, but I did make a mistake in ordering, and I got the color I wanted in the end. I kind of feel like that evens out. I think, $40 for a restocking fee is pretty good, considering I really wanted the black receiver. So all in all, I'm kind of over it. I didn't, I share my opinions. I am passionate about customer service, and but I'm not going to hold it against Eric and against Black Aces Tactical anymore. Water under the bridge. It's resolved. I got a shotgun that fits together. They tested it before they shipped it out to me. I do want to go over the features really quickly. So like I mentioned before, you've got I think 18.5-inch barrels. You get the stock with a little rubber recoil pad here. Excuse me. It comes in a walnut only, but it comes in either natural sort of brown walnut or black stained walnut. And it does come with a small pistol grip, a bear claw grip, which I will, I'm going to put it on there at some point, but not till I've shot it a few times. And I'll show everyone on Instagram probably. I don't know if I'll make a big video out of it, but I'll chat about that in a second as well. So basic shotgun, the fit and finish on this one is much better, obviously because it fits. So I had noticed before some significant overlap on the barrel and the receiver, especially around the corner here. Here there is a small stop. It's not perfectly smooth fit with the barrels and the receiver, but not nearly like before because it actually fits together, obviously. The top here, you can kind of maybe see there. It's a little uneven. There's this little sort of, I don't know even how to describe this little weld piece there. A little uneven there. Up front on mine, you can maybe see that I've got a plug in the space between the barrels, but it's not on both sides. It's only on the bottom, not on the top of the barrels. So there is a place for dirt and junk to get into the barrels there. I've looked at photos of the other shotguns. I didn't really pay super strong attention to that on the first shotgun that I received, but on this one it's missing, and on the ones that they show in their photos it's not. So definitely a little quality control issue there, either at Turkey's side or Black Ace's side. I don't know who finishes the barrel. I'm assuming that Turkey does. So that's kind of what you can expect. Little brass bead sight. I guess the benefit of having that open is you could swap out that brass bead sight maybe easier. I don't know. I have no idea how that gets put on there or removed. You've got a lever here to release the action. So it's a single direction lever. It doesn't go both directions. You can't pull it over to the left. So if you're left-handed, then you're still going to have to push it to the right to open your shotgun. Not really very ambidextrous, even though it's a very ambidextrous design overall. The lever's unidirectional. So I don't know how common that is in budget shotguns. The double barrels that I've handled have all been bidirectional, but I've only handled a couple, and I don't even know which ones they were specifically. One was a Mossberg that was also made in Turkey, full-length bird gun with engraving and all that kind of stuff. It was a whole different class of shotgun. This is very budget shotgun. It's not an heirloom piece. You've got just little places where the wood and the metal have a ledge. They're a little proud. But again, like I said before, the wood is proud, not the metal in most cases here. So you could actually, if you really want, you could sand that down and hand fit it yourself if you really want to make it look nice, and then reef stain it. Definitely a possibility. Really nice checkering on the forend as well as on the grip. It does appear to be laser checkered. So really tight pattern, perfectly done. There's no human error there. It's not overly aggressive, but it is a good reference point. You can feel it. If you're really going to be working the shotgun hard, or if you're going to work with the pistol grip, I imagine you'd probably want to grip tape that, just to make sure you've got a positive grip on there if that's your main hand taking recoil. But that's it there. I really like the trigger guard on these. It does have a very small engraving on the bottom of the trigger guard. That brass trigger is really nice, pops out really nice, and I just like the loop style of it. It's not a very modern style, and it's not a modern shotgun. It's a modern version of a very traditional shotgun, and so I like that very traditional loop on the trigger guard. Safety on the back, right there, easy to get to from either hand. If you're left-handed or right-handed, you can also, while you're in the safe position, you can choose which barrel you want to fire first. So you can shoot right first, shoot left first, just with a flick of the finger, then push it into fire and pull the trigger, and you're going to shoot that barrel and then the other one. So that's really cool if you've got different chokes. Maybe you're running a really tight choke on your left barrel and a really loose choke on the right barrel for when you're shooting close or far. If you're hunting with this shotgun, then you're going to want to be able to select those based on distance to your target. So that's really handy. If you're in a home defense situation, which is really kind of more the realm of I would put this shotgun in, I don't think you're really going to want to necessarily switch chokes. I put full open chokes in both barrels on mine for now. So basically, at those distances, I don't think you're going to want to bother with different spread patterns, right? you're just shooting across your house, unless you live in some enormous place, um, you probably don't really care about chokes as far as shooting defensively. So, um, not a huge issue there, but it does mean that you can dual purpose your shotgun by putting in the much tighter chokes and take it hunting for small game, hunting for fowl, stuff like that. Skeet shooting, something I definitely want to try with it at some point. I do have a skeet range at my gun club, so I will be trying that out at some point here. So I think that pretty well covers all of the features of the shotgun, and it is a standard shotgun. This is not a firearm according to the ATF. It's a shotgun, but because of its overall length, even with the bear claw grip, you're going to have 18.5-inch barrels. It's still considered a shotgun, and there's no NFA paperwork. It's not considered a short barrel shotgun. This is the legal length minimum of a shotgun barrel, so you're all good there. I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to serve the purpose that I purchased it for, which was not as an heirloom shotgun or anything super special. As much as I might enjoy having an older, more heirloom type shotgun, this one, the plan is still to customize it out a little bit to be my sort of super shotgun from Doom. So I'm going to be maybe making some changes to it. I might even Cerakote it or something like that. Silly stuff that you wouldn't want to do to an heirloom firearm. So, excuse me. Sorry, I'm a little bit, maybe a little bit under the weather today or something. Anyway, so that covers the Black Aces Tactical Shotgun and my experience so far. Things I'm going to be watching out for are, there is another video. If you look up Black Aces Tactical Side by Side on YouTube, you'll find, well, once this one's up, you'll find 3 videos. One by me, this one, and then there's one by someone else. I apologize, I forgot your name. It's not a channel I had seen before, but they got one in and did a review on it, and they had problems with theirs double firing. So that's something I'm going to be really paying attention to. I mentioned that I want to put the bear claw grip on it, but I want to shoot it like this first. They put the bear claw grip on right away, and then they were having some issues with double fire. So not even double fire as in consecutive, but both barrels at the exact same time went off. Made it very difficult for them to control the shotgun. They were shooting full power, 12 gauge, as far as I know. And obviously you don't want that to happen. In fact, technically, I think that would be a machine gun if it was happening intentionally. So, yeah, that's going to be an issue that I want to really pay attention to. So the first thing I want to do, I'm assuming that maybe by shooting it with the bear claw grip, and it was only the one guy out of the 2 that were shooting that seemed to have the issue. I'm wondering if he might have had a little bit looser grip and somehow managed to bump fire it really quickly, something like that. I don't know. I'm going to run it with the stock at first, and then I'll switch to the bear claw grip later once I know how it runs in its normal configuration. And this is generally the configuration I'm going to keep it in. I don't think I really want to run that bear claw grip very often. It's more of a novelty in my opinion. So that's something I'll be watching out for. I have not shot it yet because I have very limited experience with shotguns. I've only shot one once before, my Mossberg. I've shot once a couple years ago, and my wife just got a new shotgun. Well, she's had it for a long time. It's been in storage, and she wasn't really aware of what it was or anything, but she does have a Sweet 16 from Browning, which is a really, really cool semi-automatic shotgun in 16 gauge, which she wants to try out. Um, and I want to try out obviously this one and my Mossberg with some of the mini shells and see how I handle that, because I've become kind of recoil sensitive with the issues with my back and my hands and stuff. So we both want to kind of start with stationary targets. We don't want to go straight to the skeet range and just be blasting into the air, missing our targets. And I kind of want to have a feeling of the power and the precision of the shotgun. I guess it's kind of an odd word to use with it, but relative precision of how well it works, and aiming it, using a bead sight, that kind of thing is very new to me. It's extremely new to my wife. She's never shot one before at all with a bead sight, so we're gonna go somewhere where we can shoot some stationary targets and maybe blow up some watermelons or something like that. And to do that, though, we've got to drive about 3 hours worth of driving. At least so far, the only place I know to go and do that is an hour and a half away. And so, 3 hours drive time plus shooting. For one, it's a lot for me physically, just to drive out there bumpy old roads through the middle of nowhere in the mountains to get to a public lands area where we can safely shoot shotguns legally and without harming anyone. So we're going to try and prioritize that. She bought some ammo for hers, and I've got some ammo for mine. I might want to pick up some more mini shells. I definitely want to pick up some more mini shells and try out some different types of mini shells. There's slugs, there's a couple different shot types from Aguila, and then Federal has some offerings now in the short shell configuration as well. Those will shoot just fine out of a break action like this. And then they also are compatible with my Mossberg because I've added the Opsol mini clip. So really, really excited to see how they function in that, how many I can actually load in it. I have a feeling I could probably get about my whole box into that Mossberg. So I definitely am going to want more boxes. I only have the one at the moment. But yeah, so that's basically an update on Black Aces Tactical Shotgun side-by-side, my experience with the company. I have learned basically, obviously this shotgun was made in Turkey. I did want to kind of give folks a quick rundown on Black Aces Tactical, kind of as I perceive it, where they're at, what they're up to, and kind of close with that. So if you're familiar with Black Aces Tactical, if you remember them when they first launched, they came out with a Mossberg 500 short barrel, non-NFA magazine fed firearm. And it was revolutionary. It started the Mossberg Shockwave. So before Mossberg was doing a Shockwave, Black Aces Tactical was using the Mossberg pattern receiver. They licensed it to create what they called, as far as I know, they just called the Black Aces Tactical. And it had a vertical pump grip, and it didn't have a tube magazine. It used a standard Sega magazine and was magazine fed like the Mossberg 590M that's available now, but with Sega mags, and had a folding brace on it, and was just a super cool little non-NFA defensive package that you could pick up. And ATF approved it. It was 100% legal, and the business was built around that product. You probably haven't seen it in a long time because, as many people know, about a year ago or so, I think sometime in 2018, ATF redefined how they measure a firearm. So they just change the rules whenever they want. And in this case, they said if the brace folds, then the length of the firearm is at the hinge point, not at the extension point. So the length of the firearm, in order to have that vertical grip to run the action on the Black Aces Tactical, has to be 26.5 inches overall length, and that's measured with the now with the brace folded, and it wasn't that long. So it was 26.5 inches when the brace was open in the firing position, but because it folded and because ATF changed their ruling on measurement, they basically destroyed Black Aces Tactical's product. He could no longer manufacture it. He had to change it, go to a fixed brace of some kind or something. And I'm sure there was a lot of expense involved in dealing with the ATF and hiring lawyers and figuring out how they're going to handle this sudden rule change. And I don't even know if Eric has addressed that directly with his clients yet, with his customers. I don't know what the responsibility is of existing customers to modify or not their shotguns or their firearms to fit those new measurement standards. That's the problem when ATF decides they want to just change the interpretation of their rules at will. So I wanted to say, in closing, although I have had a pretty poor experience with Black Aces Tactical in general, I really respect Eric Lamone and what he's done to really keep his business afloat and keep innovating and progressing in the firearm and non-NFA firearm shotgun markets. So obviously, he doesn't do a lot of manufacturing. He's a very small business. He does manufacture his own receivers for those shotguns, and he does manufacture his own receivers for his shotguns, but all of the other parts are generally made in Turkey or somewhere else and imported. And then he assembles them at his shop, and he's had to really change his business model considerably from this sort of NFA nutkicker sort of crazy firearm that he had initially developed, and then he started basically just selling shockwave accessories for a while to stay afloat. Finally, he's back into selling firearms. So he's been importing shotguns. He's got the side-by-side. There's now an over-under available, as well as some semi-automatic shotguns in various configurations, whether they're shotguns or firearms, based on length, and pistol braces that are fixed, no longer folding pistol braces. So he's developed some really cool stuff in that respect, and then now he's released recently his magazine-fed receivers, again in a more traditional shotgun format. So you can get, I think he calls it the S Max and S Mini. No, sorry, those are tube fed. Boy, I don't remember what the name was exactly on the magazine fed versions, but they're basically like the Mossberg 500 or 590M, except that rather than spending $100 on a magazine for a giant double stack box mag, you can buy any standard Sega pattern magazine and use those in those shotguns. So, and he's got those available, I believe, in semi-automatic. I don't remember if he did pump. I haven't been following it as closely lately, but some really cool options, some major innovation there that he's been able to sort of resurrect from that project that the ATF just destroyed, essentially. So I do want to say, Eric, props on that. I know we haven't talked about that at all, but I can see kind of between the lines some of the struggle that you must have gone through, and I really respect what you've done to keep that business afloat and keep it growing and kind of progress into some new areas, really pushing the market. And I think that Mossberg definitely should have developed their own magazine-fed shotgun based on the Sega Mag. That was a much better choice, in my opinion. Obviously, Mossberg chose to go with a higher capacity double stack box mag, but it's enormous and very expensive. And I think they come off much more novelty, whereas I see the Sega mags as being something you can really carry more effectively on tactical gear and actually have a much more practical shotgun that way. Plus, you can actually afford to own magazines. The Mossberg magazines are just so exorbitantly pricey that they're unreasonable, in my opinion. So, what's next in shotguns? Personally, I'm a huge fan of minis, and I would love to see a shortened action designed for mini shells where maybe it feeds from a modified Sega pattern magazine. If you've seen any of the AR-15 22 long rifle conversion kits, they have generally a standard magazine with a tiny 22 internal magazine that goes up. I think you could probably do the same thing in a Sega magazine, and maybe that would be enough on its own to feed into one of those shotguns, or maybe there would be some modification required to the bolt, or a different bolt or something like that. But I would love to see that, because you can get a lot less recoil out of one of those smaller shells, but they're still really viable. There's less shot, less actual pellets going down range, but they have such high velocities. I think the trade-off is more than worth it. So for me, being disabled, being recoil sensitive, for my wife, who's very new to firearms in general, and brand new to shotguns, I think getting into it with a mini shell would be much more appealing to her. So I would love to see that mini shell market, especially now that Federal has picked up doing the minis. Let's see that grow next in shotguns. That's my personal opinion as far as kind of what to do next. We've got bullpups, we've got minis, we've got long, we've got side-by-sides, over-unders, all of these different things, magazine fed, tube fed, multiple tube fed, all kinds of different things that we've done now. But I think it's maybe time to start looking at that ammunition and seeing how we can use modern powders and manufacturing to make shotguns more accessible to people with lesser ability physically. So yeah, that's my thoughts there. Again, this is my long overdue update. There will be, of course, some shooting footage at some point when I do get out into the mountains to do some shooting with my wife. And we'll probably just do that as just a basic range day video. We won't get into all the drama and all of the story of the experience here with this one that I got for my birthday. In the end, I'm very happy with it so far. It looks like it's going to be a very good option for me. Exactly. All that remains to be seen is whether I get that double fire issue. And if I do, I'll definitely keep you guys up to date. So thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, help me buy more ammo, stuff like that, I am on Patreon. I'm probably going to cancel my Patreon based on current political stuff that they're trying to pull. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. If I'm going to move somewhere else, I might consider it. Let me know in the comments if you think that you would like to support me in a monthly subscription of a very small amount. Leave a comment, let me know, and if you know of a platform that you think I should move to, or maybe that you're already using, let me know that as well. My current thought is to go to Gunstreamer's Contributus because I'm already on Gunstreamer, and because I know that they are 2A friendly and always will be. That's kind of been my thought, but I know some other channels have recently moved to another platform that I've just totally spaced the name on. But there are some other options. So let me know what you think, and if that's something you'd be interested in to help support ammo costs and get more range videos, stuff like that. Maybe even more firearms accessories and reviews and things like that. So again, I am on Patreon for the moment. And you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube, and on Gunstreamer as Uncle Mike 5012, or Uncle Mike 5012. And on Twitch. I do some gaming and artwork on Twitch. So, Again, thanks for watching.